Respect the place that you call home. Respect the land in which you roam. Respect the country you were born. Let's take it back. Respect reform. Hold on to freedom, hold on to hope. Don't give them slack, don't give them rope. Don't walk and hang your head in shame. Be proud, stand tall, and we will reign.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 52 of A Conversation with Neil Stevens. Now, we've got 3 county councilors on tonight, and they were elected to deliver change, and they will be delivering change, and they will deliver change to Exeter. And that's why we have this little catchy phrase, Exeter needs change. Okay, so we have a really interesting topic tonight. It's something you've probably never heard of before, but it deals with Section 106. Neil will talk about that in a second, but we have an expert on board here who's been on the show before, Pete Anning. Welcome, Pete.
Hello.
Thanks very much. And Pete is the MD of MBS. Is that right, Pete?
That's correct. Yeah, it is. X's only Mercedes BMW Mini Specialist down on Marsh Barton.
Thank you for that plug, Pete.
I do.
Checks in the mail, I'm sure. Okay, Neil, so can you introduce the topic tonight, please?
Yep, so the topic tonight is all about the 106. So we've got more houses being built, we've got more developing going into the future, the infrastructure and the roads, and the 106 is a contribution from all these different parties towards different projects in and around the community. So we're going to look at that and discuss that.
Okay, fantastic, Neil. So let's see, what's next here? There's a slide that he was just talking about, and thank you, Neil, for that intro. Now,
We'll see if we can get this right.
Who's going to do this one here? Tony, give it a shot here.
Right. Well, this podcast is about the community, so get involved tonight. Comment during the live stream, ask questions and share your experiences. Tell us about issues in your areas. Suggest future podcast tips and ask the questions. What local issues frustrate you at the moment? We want to hear from you.
Tony, you got super mojo tonight.
It was brilliant.
Rob, can I just add a bit to that?
Sure.
So a lot of these slides now will have questions at the end, all right? The questions which I'm asking you guys. And the only way it really works now is we'll put the question out, shove it all in. We've actually got everything working tonight. I've got all the platforms here. So it will say, I'm going to ask you a question. And it only works with the feedback. So please send them in. You know, Ian, send them in. Helen, send them in. And everything like that. Appreciate it. Nat.
Well, it's my turn to say that it's your voice that matters. We'd like to have a conversation with you and for you to all be involved. You've either found us on Facebook or you can find us on YouTube live. The WhatsApp is 07355 429 205. My eyesight is terrible, sorry.
Trying to buy my glasses.
Oh, surely you must have that memorized by now, Nat.
Please message through the live show and put your point across in your comments. We want to hear them. And you can also contact neil.stevens at devon.gov.uk.
Should know that one.
I know.
Okay, stunning job, Nat. Thanks so much. Now, this is the time of the show where we actually get to share with the viewers what you all have been doing, because you were elected to do things, I assume. So let's see, who are we going to start off with tonight? Neil, why don't you kick it off?
Yeah, been very interesting week. Hopefully everybody's been drinking plenty of fluid. And it's only water in here, sadly. But yeah, very interesting week. Done a lot of meetings. And Tony's going to tell about one of the meetings we've done. Today, I went to the Energy Centre down in Marsh Barton, where I chair that. A gentleman turned up. We nearly cross-decked with the heat source pump. Brilliant man, very knowledgeable, and I will update on that later. But besides that, we have meetings after meetings today. We're looking at procurement of contracts later in the year, so we're digging deep into this. And generally, it's been a really busy doing meetings after meetings, as well as keep the emails coming in, guys. I think I'm up to date with all emails. If I haven't got an answer, I always get back to you, and I think I'm near enough 99% on top of that.
Hey, thanks very much, Neil. And when you say heat pumps, let's just rewind the clock a little bit. Now, what do you mean by heat pump is there's a big energy center that's being built on Marsh Barton, close to Marsh Barton anyway, and they're digging pipes. They started digging pipes last year, and they're starting to dig up roads because they're going to distribute the hot water throughout the pipes to various public sector buildings. Neil, can you add to that?
Yeah, well, there's two issues. To the energy centre down Marsh Barton, they're looking at connecting the energy centre to the heat source pump. So we have to divide that. The energy centre, they work really hard recycling or burning and disposing all of our waste in this area and everything like that. But the heat source pump is very, I call it toxic for me. The more I dig into it, the more it smells. And I know it's quite blunt talking, but the guy across the river, St. Leonard's, I had a good chat with him, and the answer is follow the money, and that's what I've been doing.
Thanks very much, Neil. And again, just maybe to add to that, because if it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it is a duck, and I think something smells there. But yeah, on that topic, just a couple of tasters. Again, the clients for this energy are mostly public sector clients. If it was so energy efficient, you'd think they'd be knocking on your door and sending out leaflets, but they aren't. So stay tuned for that. We'll discuss that in a future topic, I'm sure. So let's see, who's next here? Tony, would you like to give us some of your thoughts about what you've been up to?
Well, yeah, I'll give you the first one, which is something very close to my heart, which is send. We do get a lot of emails concerning the send issues, so we always obviously want to give the correct information. So I arranged a meeting between us and somebody who deals with the send in Devon County Council. Very interesting. She's given us a lot of sort of information and also links that we can actually give to people that can help and hopefully help them with certain issues and obviously be of a good support for them as well. The other thing I will mention is somebody did bring up about Buddle Lane, how congested it's getting, and it would be good if yellow lines were put in. I have mentioned it to the local highways officer, and apparently there is a TRO, a traffic road order already in, which does take time, but they have sort of said about putting yellow lines in there. So in the future, which will be sort of in the future, probably a good year away, you might see the congestion getting better.
So Tony, you referred to Buddle Lane. For the benefit of viewers that are not in your constituency, what's the significance of Buddle Lane? What do you mean by that?
It's a choke point. So Buddle Lane it's what I call not a feeder road, but it's one of the main roads
And like a
that
rat
take
run,
you
maybe?
into Exwick. So it's a feeder road, but it gets very congested. There's a school nearby. You can park both sides. Obviously, it's a bus route as well. Two lots of traffic can't go without one having to give way.
Okay, super. Thank you very much. What else? Anything else to add, Tony?
Well, I mean, a lot of the other things are just issues regarding... well, actually, no, there is one. I've done an article which hopefully will go into the Exwick News, which they wanted my views on Exwick, so I've given what I feel as a wonderful ward, my feelings towards it. And there is also a fete coming up, I believe, soon in Exwick, as well as the summer fete coming up in St Thomas Church in about 2 or 3 weeks' time.
Fantastic. And I haven't been over the park, but are the little spray jets and the water feature
Well, the
working
water
for the
parks,
kids?
that goes without question, St Thomas. We're one of the lucky ones. I think there are 2 water parks in Exeter. We're one of the good ones that have got them down in St Thomas Park. It is fantastic to see all the families there with their children running wild, going in the water park. Take advantage of it while the weather's here.
Oh, that's super. Thank you very much, Tony. Hey, over to Nat. And by the way, I'll maybe give Paul a little heads up here, just to ask him what his hot topics are, maybe for the local area, if you don't mind. But first of all, going over to Nat.
You
Well,
mean Peter?
Peter.
Peter, Paul. What do I call him, Paul? Okay.
Well, believe it
Paul,
or
Mary.
not, it's been all hands on deck this week because of the temperatures and whatnot at home with the animals. So me and Bex have had a bit of quiet time. I haven't been on the laptop that much, but you can't. What I'm trying to do is highlight quite a few things regards the way our roads are fixed and what and this, that, and the other, and really get answers to why these roads and whatnot aren't being fixed to a better standard. During a busy week, had a phone call from an official, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on, along with answering a few emails as well. But we don't get to go away on holiday, so we've had a quieter week this week.
How's
Who
your
needs to
horses
go on
coping?
Yeah, they're coping. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well,
Okay, Paul.
Paul,
Peter.
is
Thanks,
Peter.
Roger.
John.
Yeah. No, I was just wondering, Peter, if you could tell us, maybe share with us what your concerns are and why you enjoy coming on the show.
Well, I enjoy coming on the show because one, you're a fantastic bunch of fellas.
Well, thank you very much.
And
We'll
it's
pay you later.
you're welcome. You're welcome. And I think it's just good to get an insider view of what goes on, behind closed doors. Is that right? And the concerns of people around. I mean, certainly from my perspective, roads again are an issue. Dunsford Road's pretty poor and not getting any better. The weeds down through there are not great. From a business perspective,
I will add that they are in the pipeline to be done as a priority.
oh really? They're resurfacing it as well.
They are looking at it. It has been mentioned. I thought I'd bring
Excellent.
that in. So,
Yeah, no, I guessed it would have been in the post at some point.
yeah, already noted.
But brilliant, good for that. But I think me being in business, I'm looking at the landscape out there for businesses. I'm certainly very aware of the advertising that's going on for a lot of places. Certainly in my industry, garages. I think they're struggling a little bit more. There are quite a few of them out there, but they are reducing. But it's just interesting to see what's going on and seeing, what the trends are out there and how we can, continually evolve as a business. Not just me, everybody who's in business, to make sure we still get a throughput of customers and make sure we're profitable, so we can invest and take on new members of staff, mainly youngsters.
Okay, thank you very much, Pete. And hey, by the way, just before we kick into this topic, just going to flash a slide up again. Just to encourage you all to jump onto YouTube. Everybody jump onto YouTube and hit the subscribe button and notify, so that every week you get notified of these exciting podcasts that come out with our local issues. Right, Tony? We
Always
we,
local in
talk
our
about
secret bunker, as I keep
Local
mentioning
issues.
every week.
Okay, fantastic. So, Neil, let's kick the topic off tonight, would you please?
Yeah, so this all started off with a conversation with Nat earlier in the week, and I just want to say the headline is, where has the money gone? There's no question anything has been done underhanded or anything like that. It's just looking at this. So what are we going to look at? What is the S106? And I'll be handing this over to part of the story tonight. Who pays for it? That's the next one. Who receives it and who decides where it is spent? So the question I will ask every resident, and it's good to see Anthony, good to see you're on, Hayley, and I've got 3 others watching, good to see, that's better than none. And the question is, do residents understand how the system works? So that's the first question. When I spoke to Pete today, he was coming on and I said, have you heard of the 106? And he said, no. And I said, good, don't do any work on it. Okay. Yes, Rob.
Well, I'll just see if I can win the booby prize today by trying to answer that question. Okay, what a Section 106 agreement is, and you can correct me probably, right? Because I'm not an expert. But Section 106 agreement, I recall, is an agreement between a private sector entity, normally a private sector, and a lot of times it's the local council. So, for example, if you want to build a little development or anything, and you have a wad of cash, you burning a hole in your pocket, want to make some money, the council will skim off their share. I'm saying a bit of sarcasm, but anyway, sometimes there are different agreements that you enter into as part of that overall contract that requires you to, install various things. It might be a playground, it might be trees, it might be a zebra crossing. That's what I remember. Neil, what do you think about that?
Yeah, so basically Exeter City Council would negotiate their planning, and Exeter City will negotiate with, you could do the next slide, Rob. They will negotiate with the developers, and a certain figure will come up, and in that figure will be a certain amount, and then that goes into different areas. It goes to, and I must step back a bit. I wrote to Devon County Council asking for information regarding the 106, how much money they've got, how much has been spent, how much is in reserve, etc. The email I got back was very polite, and she said, put it through the portal. But the portal said I won't get an answer till July the 8th. Well, that's no good, right? So I have to be careful on facts and figures, because until that comes back to me, I don't know. But at this time, a 106 is, and we're going to discuss what it's be put on. So it's to help the infrastructure of the area. So look at it. You're building houses. Okay, you're going to put more vehicles on the road. You've got more pedestrians on the road. You need school places. You need more surgeries. You need zebra crossings, pelican crossings, or whatever. So we have to look at what is priority. So the question is, has anybody, and I know some people have heard of the 106. So Peter, the 106, have you heard from it? And has anybody else heard of it?
No, I've not heard anything at all about it. I know the principle behind it, but I've certainly not heard of it. It's not in public knowledge as far as I'm aware.
I can add to that. I remember when I was in my career at the NHS, early on, we were building very large hospitals when Tony Blair was in power. And we had, for example, a hospital we were bidding on in Coventry, major hospital, like £500 million. And as part of that, we had to support the Green Transport Initiative, I think, or something. So we had to build bus shelters and little bus pull-in lanes. And that sort of thing. So that's maybe an example of a 106 agreement. Neil?
No, Tony, you've heard of the 106?
Well, I actually heard of it yesterday when we attended the Highways Traffic Order Committee training that we have to do. So I actually heard about it then, and it was mentioned about some of the things it can be used for. On a side note, I did notice that they were saying with zebra crossings, how much a zebra crossing costs with the section 106 if that had to be done, and it seems over 200,000.
Well, let's go.
That's unbelievable.
Let's go back to, okay, so who pays it? We've already said who pays it. We've got the house builders, the large development and commercial projects. So another question I'm putting out to you guys, should developers contribute more? If they do, the price may have to increase. So I don't know how transparent this is. So I don't know how much a 10 million project, how much the developer has to contribute yet. So we've asked a Freedom of Information Act, which I put in yesterday, to gather that information. So this story is going to unfold. But let's look at it. We've got a pot of money. All right, it's not all to Exeter. It can go anywhere. So it's not just about Alphington or anything like that. But I would say if there's a project in Alphington and there's a pot of money and it goes to the 106, it should go to developing that area. Would you agree?
Is this? Can I?
Yeah, Peter.
Go.
Is this where for each house that they build, they have to pay a stack of money to the council?
Yeah. It should,
Right,
used to be,
Not,
and it
not
used to
necessarily
be-
a stat. A
Well,
percentage.
I think it's a set
it is.
sum
It's usually,
for-
I think it's
I think around here it's
negotiable.
about 500 and something a house.
It's
I could be wrong on
It's
that.
negotiable.
And that's used for infrastructure.
Yeah.
In theory, there's a whole list which we'll come on to in a minute. Well, put the next slide up. What can it be used for?
What can
So
you use it
would that
for?
mean then? I mean, because they've now put it out to public consultation for increasing the size of the Cantersweir bridges, haven't they?
Yeah.
Would it pay for that? I mean, obviously, there's
No.
been a massive infrastructure
that
build,
comes
isn't
out
there,
of a
down at
separate
Matford?
budget because there's no building work done around there.
Well, yeah, but you got the Matford lot, haven't you, down at the Devon Motel?
Well, it wouldn't benefit them though, would it? So, But there, you see, you'd have to think about them putting it towards my favourite, cycle lanes, community centres, widening the pavements, anything like that.
But from an Exeter point of view, an Exeter City Council point of view, all these issues would be brought up at their meetings, wouldn't it? And it would be discussed on where
Yes.
and what possible uses that money could have, depending on where the development is. And I'm guessing you've got to go and sit in those meetings to see what they're
you have
discussing.
scrutiny meetings and
Yeah.
everything like that. They decide where the money go.
Yeah.
So, I'm using a prime example for Alphington. Let's just say there's a lot of buildings being built there. We'll come to Cranbrook in a minute. So we've got a lot of buildings and they're still being built. So whether the money's released at certain stages, once it's done, I don't know. But my discussion, I don't use the word argument, is if you go down Chutley Road, there's no pavements. You've got to cross a road with no crossing. You've got some lights, there's no lights. All the schools are crammed. The GP, they're just building a surgery now. I understand about the school was a government project, but to that end, I would say, where's all the money gone? Why aren't we building infrastructure? But we'll come on to your little pet hate in a minute.
There is another issue with 106 money, unless it's structured correctly. Then if a developer goes bust partway through that development, the 106 money's not there, is it? And that's what has happened in the past.
Well, I think home is. I think it's called Home Farm in Pinot, where the developer has gone bust, leaving the sewers in bad shape. But the problem there is Exeter City or Devon County aren't responsible for it. I have a feeling, from what I looked at, the residents are responsible.
No, but the issue, what I'm saying is that this 106 money will be available.
Not for that.
But it's at what point is that money available? So a lot of the 106 money gets released at the end of the development, rather than it being once the developer's sold a couple of houses, then or whatever to get the money. And ultimately, if the developer then goes bust, that 106 money's gone. So what I think some people have had this happen, and because it's not forthcoming, it's not a payment that's made from the start. If a construction company goes bust,
What
you lose that
generally
106 money.
happens is they give a bond. And I say generally because it doesn't happen all the time. They give a bond so that if they do go down, the money's there to complete the process.
Yeah, and also maybe just to add to that is some people by through this conversation might be thinking, oh my gosh, it's always the developer. Actually, the 106 agreement is an agreement between the council and the developer. And the council has obligations as well. So it clarifies who does what. So just because you think, oh my gosh, where's the GP surgery? You have to really look into the agreement to see whose responsibility it was to build that. And believe me, as we know, property developers really can expedite and move very quickly, whereas local authorities have procurement processes and it takes them a year and a day to do things. So again, it's you have to really look in the agreement to see whose responsibility it is to do these different enhancements. Neil?
Yeah, so just going back to it, remember the 106 can be used for schools, roads, transport, open spaces, community facilities, and healthcare, walking and cycling. So what is the top priority? We will visit that in a minute. I don't have many questions yet. I've got people watching. I know we've just introduced the 106, so people haven't heard about it. But later on, we want to know, what would your priority be? Would it be a cycle lane, or would it be a GP surgery, or would it be a walking track? So we want a feedback from everybody on this. And this is going to bring Nat into his little
Well, just a little gripe, really.
Okay,
as in, oh,
can't
right
wait to
now,
get
as in
it out.
right now,
let's
Neil.
put the paper down, Peter. Right, so this is all brought about for one thing, and we're going to be very careful what we say, Peter.
Okay.
But you are the adjudication officer or the judge, okay, and I will be asking you questions. So this is not practice, by the way, and we're not putting you on the spot.
Much.
Okay, so you made a phone call to me and you were pretty upset.
Well, not, yeah, angry.
Upset.
Upset. But so I had something come across my desk through an email from, I won't say where, but obviously as a county councillor, I sometimes get asked to give my approval for certain things, and this particular one is a pot of 106 money, and sadly, I didn't really get much information about it. All I was told initially from my other fellow county councillor who I work with in my area is that there's a pot of money available or becoming available, and I'd like you to have a look over it. So, fair enough, that's fine. I then got an email from an officer, a county officer, to ask for my approval with pretty basic. A pretty basic scan of this, and I said, is it okay if I think about it for a bit, please? Because obviously it was just thrown at me and made out as if I needed to answer, make a decision pretty quickly. So what it was about, it's about a section of footpath, cycle path, about 250 metres, 200 metres long near Westcliff, or in the Westcliff area, for about 100,000 pounds. And I'm like, hang on a minute.
What's
This is
the
a lot
problem
of.
with that, though? Remember, I'm the negative now. So what is an issue when we need cycling in Exeter, right? So what is your issue?
Well,
I'm winding you up, by the way.
what's my issue?
Yeah.
The fact that I've been in the post now for over a year, and then this week got a phone call because I sent back my thoughts on it, and I said no, I'm not keen to give my back into it because one, Devon can't afford to maintain its existing infrastructure as it stands. Why are we going to add to it for further down the line? Which was accepted. That was an accepted response. And I think it makes common sense. Until we can fix the infrastructure we already own, then I don't think adding to it for more maintenance in the future is a very wise decision.
Right,
So you with us? Are you with
I'm
us?
going to stop you there because I'm going to bring
Yeah.
Peter in. Right, so we
I
did
totally
comment
agree.
about infrastructure. And what's your view?
Pretty much as Nat's really. Why add to it if you can't even look after what we've got? It needs to be maintained.
Yeah.
You work with these guys, don't you? That
So I don't
do a very good job.
I'm not giving up. We're going to relight the weed, but if you walk around now, and I said last year, the weeds will take over, and it will take over. And do you know what? I think sometimes you've got to go against the policy. Let them take over. Don't do any weeding. Let it deteriorate the roads, the pavements. Let people have accidents. Let people in wheelchairs can't get by because the bush now comes a tree, or the people can't see the sign. So I think back to you now, okay, because they cannot maintain what they've got. So the cycle route.
So this cycle route. So obviously, I've just explained then that it came across my desk. I'd given my reasoning for not giving it my support. So I then had an email back from the Devon County officer to say that it was going to go to East Devon Hattock, which I knew then, as soon as that was the case, that there's no chance that I myself would stop it. So what they've done is a pointless exercise because I'll stand in that committee pretty much.
So in Hattock, how many people are in there?
East Devon Hattock, there'll be about 15 of us, I expect.
Local councillors.
Local councillors.
Not Devon.
No, from all around East Devon and the East Devon area, and the county councillors as well. And it's like pushing water uphill for me because I'm the only one that don't agree with some of the stuff, but they're all very much together. Close knit. So that's fine. So I got told that it was going to go to Hattock, and that'll come in August or autumn time. Then earlier this week, I received a phone call. I won't say who from, but from an official, a public official, to say that they thought that I'd made a poor decision Well, that decision is mine to make. And whatever, I couldn't believe I'd had that phone call to say that they thought that I'd made a poor decision. And yeah, I was lost for words. I rang Neil to say this, and this is where this has all come from.
See, a councillor is there to make his decisions, and if he's there to protect your money. So I don't agree 106 or an S106 is a priority spending 100 grand. Yes.
It's not anybody's money at the moment. It's obviously
In the pot.
from the developer. The story gets longer. So I was originally told that this pot of money had become available. And I thought, oh, that's fine. It could be done. It could be used for lots of different things. But by all accounts, it's been earmarked for a very long time for a certain project for a footpath, cycle path. Well, I've been a Devon County Councillor now for a year and only just been made aware of it. So somebody knew about it and kept it very quiet, it seems to me, and wanted a rush decision out of me, thinking, well, that's right, he'll just say yes, that's not a problem.
But they can get money somewhere else, can't they? What's the other they can get money on?
So active travel is another, obviously, a foot and cycle path
But
scheme,
is
but that's
Active
from
Travel
London.
contributing anything to it?
Not that I've been aware, not that I've been made
Because I
aware
thought,
of.
Tony, Active Travel is they contribute and then the local facilities
I was going to ask,
pay
though,
towards it.
where do you think the money could be better used?
But it'd be nice to have a few choices, wouldn't it? There's a lot of
Well,
people
yes.
living in that area now,
It would be nice to do a consultation, my favourite word as well,
yeah,
to see where the residents think the money could be more beneficial. They might end up saying a 250 metre cycle come walkway, of which case I'm sure you'd have no objection.
I'd like to look at all options, to be honest. And what's getting to me the most, Tony, is that this has been known about for a long time.
Yeah.
And then ultimately, I did get told that, well, you should have come to the WIG meetings. But,
That they don't tell you about.
well, I do get told about them. But ultimately, you can't always make those meetings for whatever reasons. So,
I got a few questions here, guys. And Peter, you going to be brought into it because I'm not having
You're
you
going to answer
stand
them
there.
all.
No.
Okay, one lady says, why is the doctor shortage a local shop chemist and money to improve in schools? They're not built first before the houses. So we've got some questions to go on that in a minute. But Ian, when new cycle paths have been completed, there is no follow-up. That's your argument on there as well.
well,
You brought that up to me.
my point was, in my reply to the county officer, was to say that, like I've said, we've got infrastructure at the moment that we can't afford to maintain. Why on earth should we put, I know it's not council money installing it, and then so my argument is let's sort out what we've got already rather than adding to it. Do you know what the reply was? Not from the county officer, but from the person that called me. Well, we'll be dead and buried by the time Devon County need to maintain that.
So obviously not thinking of the future then.
No.
So carrying on, it says, remember this money, the 106 can't be used for potholes. It's all about schools, play areas, green areas. You can use cycle routes.
I'm
GP
talking
surgeries.
about the forward maintenance, Neil.
Yeah,
That would be Devon County's.
Right, exactly that. Any other infrastructure projects so deteriorates quickly. These decisions are always rushed with little consultation. And you didn't really understand much consultation. It was just a question asked you, and you said, "No, I'm not supporting it."
It got flagged up to me by my fellow county councillor in a very relaxed way at the end of a meeting, and then I got an email from a county officer asking for my approval for it.
Before I ask you another question, Rob.
Yeah, I was just going to totally agree with your comment, Nat. Give you two examples. When I worked down at Brighton on a very large hospital, which ended my, this at the end of my career, it was a beautiful hospital, air conditioned fully out throughout, Tony. And if you go down there, take a look at the building. It's only about a 3-story building. It's called the Audrey Emerton Building. It's about maybe 15 years old. It was a beautiful building then. But it's completely covered over by algae, and it looks terrible because basically public sector organizations struggle in maintaining things, maintaining assets. Another example is the Exeter City Council building itself. If you look at that, Nat, take a look at that building, guys. If you drive along Paris Street, is it?
Yeah.
Because it was okay building in the 1960s when it was built, probably. But look at the side of it and look at the front of it. I don't know if the two tree stumps are still there, but I asked when they were going to remove that, and
When they build student flats.
so I
then.
totally agree, Nat. It's no use building fancy, nice things when they're not going to be maintained. They're going to be an eyesore in 2 years' time.
Yeah, but but is it for everybody? That's my question. And ultimately, what's happened now is because I didn't give my approval. There's more than one way of skinning a cat, isn't there? In different terms, so they've looked at what I've responded to it as, but then just moved it to Hattock, where they know that will be passed. Well, that ultimately then, what's the point of me doing what I'm doing? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I'm just reading this. It's really good coming in. Ian, thanks for that. He says, ask those who's likely to be affected by it.
Well, it would be good to know, wouldn't it?
Okay, so who's going to benefit from it?
Well, the local.
Landowners.
Well,
You've got to be careful there.
All right, I shouldn't have said that one.
Am I-
Take that back.
Yeah, yes, Rob.
Yeah, just again, I'm trying to help Peter, right? Be an arbiter, Peter. Okay, but don't forget, when people ask, can they contribute to a new community center? Can they build a 200,000 pound community center? Or can they do this? Can they do that? Why not? Well, young families are trying to afford a reasonable house these days, and when you ask a developer to build all sorts of additional facilities, probably facilities that the council should be building in the first place, then the poor kids are trying to afford these houses get lumbered for with that. What do you think, Nat?
When going back to who will it benefit? I think it will.
say that.
I think it would probably ultimately benefit active travel more than anything else, because you're linking up sections of their ideology and their ideal route that they want to
Which we're not
follow.
against,
No.
but use the right pot of money, not the
Yeah,
106.
for everybody
Well, that's
else.
what we're going to ask everybody in a
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah, I mean,
Just
there is a pot of money.
We're
for-
going to have to stick to the next slide in a minute, but we've come back to that. Tony, I'm going to ask you, a gentleman here said, I saw the post the other day on Tony's feed, from what I believe, to a mid-Devon councillor, and he said he would work with anybody except a reform councillor.
Well,
And the answer is you should work with everybody. After they got
Yeah.
elected, after May, I did a post and said I congratulate everybody, and this is how they hold us in contempt. It's a disgrace.
I was going to say on that one, we did Armed Forces Day on Sunday, which was an absolutely fantastic event to see. We talked to people and officials from all parties, and we do all get on. Well, we do in Exeter anyway. There's none of this sort
Okay,
of...
I'm going to bounce you. Sorry to Tony be rude. Peter, as the judge, so you've got money coming in here. They want to spend the money. Somebody rung them up and said you made the wrong decision.
Yeah.
And you've got to be neutral here, by the way.
Okay.
They've rung him up. He's already made the decision. They basically said, no, we don't agree with you. So we're going to put it to Hattock. The Hattock will hate them because we've already quoted they don't want to work reform. All right.
There will be no reason there.
So really, you've got no say. So £100,000 could be, because they have to apply for it, spent on a cycle
No, it's
track.
already been applied for.
Okay, but hasn't been agreed yet. Because
No, but I had to, where it came to myself and Henry Jenner.
So really,
Henry agreed with it.
You're
I
not
didn't.
supposed to
So Henry, is he going to benefit from it?
I don't know. But
So Neil,
we-
what is
we
your
need to-
question for our arbiter tonight? Huh?
Yeah.
So do you think the money should be spent 106 before there's other priorities? And we're going to go to the priorities in a minute. We're going to ask people what they think. But is it a worthwhile project to spend that money on a farmland which was green and maybe
Or a
green
route.
councillor who sold it all off to build houses?
Bear in mind, there are other routes at the moment, so it doesn't have to go in. I mean, people could take a little detour and get around just as easily on the existing roads and bits and bobs.
It is a case of who it benefits, and if the
Well, we'll come
bulk
back
of
to
the
that.
population in
Okay,
that
so
area
going back
say
to you, Tony.
yes.
Hang on, Judge.
Well, I'm in business, so for me, you've got to get the infrastructure in there first of all before we can do anything. So, you know, that would be surgeries, schools, you know.
Well, activities for kids, you know, like,
Exactly.
you know, you got play parks that, you know, they're
Well, we were discussing this earlier, weren't we?
just yeah. I mean,
Health.
it would be like Tony said, and if I'd have seen a consultation from local people about what they want, lovely. But instead, it just landed on my desk. This is what we've been working on trying to get.
Interesting to see what the general population in that area.
That's right.
Right, so going
One.
to sticking to a little bit of the script because I spend hours just doing these
All right.
sometimes. Yeah.
Sorry, Neil.
Okay,
Sorry,
so who holds the money? That's the question. So the money is held by Devon County Council, Exeter City Council, NHS bodies, other organisation. So the question to all you guys watching, Carol, Tina, Ian, David, I've got a big list here.
Oh, more than 3.
Is there a pool there?
We got a lot of viewers on tonight.
Should the residents be able to see exactly where it is held? Now, there might be a portal, I don't know, where you can actually see where that money is being spent. We're not talking about one area, we're talking about all of this money. Now,
Well, this covers
I
all
know
of
they've
Devon.
got 51.6 million spare, but that's for future projects. So it's not, you just can't willingly going up. So who holds the money? So there's all these bodies of people hold the money, if I'm correct. Right, so the next one, who makes the decisions? Nat.
Well, that initially came to myself and my fellow county councillor, and then because
wasn't that.
we've, well, because I've disagreed or not going to give my support for it for lack of information for one of the reasons, and then the main reason for my point from what the information I got is the forward maintenance. But then once it's now obviously an East Devon Hattock decision, isn't it? It's not a county councillor decision. It would have been if we'd have both agreed on it.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same in Exeter. If any highways issue comes up, and it's in the Exeter area, it does fall under the remit of the 9 county councillors and whichever local councillors sit on the Hattock committee. So that's where the decisions are made. As long as it's over, if it goes over a set price of 500,000, then we lose the vote on that. That automatically goes to the cabinet. Quite boring, I know, but
Yeah.
Neil?
Rob, sorry, according to you, Rob, though. Now, are you aware of a consultation? Do they need a consultation?
Not that I literally had very little information on it. It just seemed very rushed.
So, as we said, decisions are made by the councillors, committees, officers, parish councillors, and residents. So the key question is, you know, do local people have enough say?
Oh.
What can it be used for? Because it's not about the cycle track. It's about what can the local residents. Peter, you'd like to know what that money's going on.
Yeah,
you'd
sure.
like to contribute. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Tony?
well, I think when it comes to like the HATOC and decisions they've got to make, in decisions like that, the general public should come in and, well, as they do in Exeter, and voice their opinions.
So I was also told in that conversation, and by the county officer that sent me the email initially, that if it's not agreed, that 106 money will go back to the developer and it can't be used for anything else. Now, I don't believe that's right. Neil?
Well, you're going on to the next slide. You must have been on my shoulder.
No,
and wrote
I
it
didn't.
last
Whether,
night.
whether that's true,
So-
we just don't know.
So I had a question regarding that. So if there was you and another councillor who voted on this, or
Yeah.
and you
Got
said-
asked for
yeah, you got
approval,
asked. You
yeah.
said no, and the other guy said yes.
Yeah.
Now, if the other guy said no as well, and it wasn't the correct answer, would it have gone back to Hattock anyway?
It would have gone back. So the money would have stayed in the
Devon County
central
Council.
funds.
Whether
Yeah,
they're-
I guess what I'm saying.
or they
is-
say it goes back to the developer.
Right, we'll come on to
Which
that. It's a good question.
I'm not
but,
so sure about.
But going back to answer Peter's question,
But it was just, if you two had both said no, we don't want
Yeah,
it.
the money-
would that have been upheld, or would it have?
Technically, the way I believe it should, the money would still be there. but it would have to go in and they'd find another use for it.
Well, another project. that
Another
would benefit
project,
the
yeah.
community.
So your decision would have, if it was a joint decision,
Yeah.
then it would have been upheld.
Yeah.
God, it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, before we flip on to the next, Ian, thanks you. Get local electors involved. Get a petition started, speaking at Hattock, demanding a public consultation on ideas where the money should be spent. People power works, but that takes time, and I understand that. And like Ian says, classic tail wagging the dog. So the big mystery is how much S106 money is currently is unspent. And let's be
In the
honest.
pot.
Let's be honest. We have asked this information and we are waiting for the answers. So I can't speculate. I can't make assumptions. We have wrote to Freedom of Information Act. And like I said, I'm not going to get a reply till the 8th. I did ask them politely that we're coming on live tonight, but I never got a response with my second email. So going back to your question, Nat, next slide. Use it or lose it. Okay, spending deadlines. Now, some say they have spending deadlines, repayment clauses, pressure to allocate funds. Right, the question I'm asking is, should money be spent quickly or spent wisely? Peter, being the judge, I mean, that's a simple question with a simple answer.
Well, I think that's an easy one.
Wisely, isn't it?
I think
Well,
I would have to say wisely for vote number 2 there.
Wisely and fairly,
Nah, that's not
if it's for local people.
That's not one of the... but certainly wisely. Because you can spend it quickly on any scheme because you think, that's the right thing to do. But down the line, like you say, it doesn't mean to say it's the right scheme.
I think that's very wise, Tony.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But no, seriously,
Quote me.
don't need to rush. Putting a bunch of infrastructure in community centers or anything that's in the 106 agreement, and then have it sitting there for years because that costs developers money, and they charge the people that are buying houses, right? So
I think the thing being
exactly
with
right.
some of these plans and ideas, people see what's coming, so they see where houses are being built, so they're using it to what's the word? They're using what they know is coming up and happening to link certain things up. So say you need a link to hit an active travel route.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And
So
it's
they're
like
preempting
it's
it
very
in order
well
to-
planned, rather than it being genuinely for all the local people and everybody can use it. They're using it as more of an infrastructure benefit.
Because of active travel.
But
But
It-
I'm
it's
not...
a possibility.
They literally want, in the next 10 years, they want to reduce car journeys by 50%.
But all this would sort of say to me that it's to link up to do with active travel. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because
I mean,
it will
what
bring you
you're
out.
suggesting there about the cycle, that really is something that active travel should be looking at and not S106 money.
That's right. That is a
Exactly.
point. Yeah.
Misappropriation.
Well, there we go, you see.
I'm going to quote actually what Ian said just now. But if you go to the next slide, what would you spend it on? And while you're looking at Ian, thanks for this. Affordable housing funding, the creation of percentage allocations of below. Market or social housing, education, building, expanding schools, nurseries, SEND facilities, healthcare, creating new GP surgeries, health centres, hospitals, transport highways, improving local roads, cycle paths,
Did he say all
pedestrian
those?
areas and public transport links, green spaces, creating or improving public park, playground and nature habitat. So the question is, what would you put as a priority? So we've got areas in my area, Tony's area, you're at, the roads are deteriorating, they can't even paint the
striping.
Can I say quickly?
right,
Do
so
the white lines.
We've
When-
got
when I look at-
signs hanging off, we've got weeds everywhere, but they want to build more stuff,
Yeah.
but they're not interested in what they've already got. And like Peter said, if you can't look after what you got, you don't add to it.
Exactly.
Broken
Yeah.
window,
I was
broken
going to say
business.
there's two that stand out for me in the list. One is buses, believe it or not, which I think should be more heavily subsidised in the rural areas to bring people in. And the other one's youth services, because there's a lot of kids out there who have nothing to do.
There's a lost age, isn't
including
there?
my grandson, I will add.
How old is he?
16.
There you go. Nobody
You
wants
know,
them.
they
I don't know-
need things to do. You know, he lives in Cranbrook. They need things for the youth to do in all these areas. There's nothing.
Well, there isn't. When you look at Cranbrook, there isn't.
There's nothing.
There isn't, is there?
No.
So let's go back to the big question. So what would you spend it on? And I'm asking all the audience out here, what would you spend it on? And while you're coming up with the answers here, thank you for this. Somebody said, the money in the pot, what happens to the interest of that? I might ask that question when I get responses.
Send another question in.
Well, I'd have thought actually. So when Nat was talking about this cycle path, and we were talking about who's going to maintain the infrastructure moving forward, and your man said, well, actually, when I'm not here, it doesn't matter, so it ain't a problem. Why? And this could be a bit difficult to sort out, but why couldn't they apportion an amount of that money from your S106 and invest it? Index-linked funds, whatever, and you get a return on that, and then that would help to maintain.
I think
forward
you get
funded.
taxed on that soon.
Well,
If,
But that-
if what
but
they say
there's
is
still
true.
going to be profit out of that. And actually, if it's for local infrastructure, then surely there could be. And I know it'd be difficult. Maybe
Good question is, and Rob might be, I don't know the rules. They might have certain rules where it's got to be invested into local community
That
building.
project,
I don't
yeah,
know,
fully.
but what you're saying is logical. Put
Well, it
that
is,
money
because
into
in 20
a
years'
pot,
time, when
get the
when
interest.
when it's all knackered, it's
mean,
got to be redone again, isn't it?
They quoted yesterday to put a crossing. I don't know whether it was a zebra crossing or a pelican. £200,000. I know there's rules for certain types of
Well,
crossings.
this is my
But-
argument about Mallison Bridge on the quay. Over £1 million to put a bridge across the span. I mean, surely it can be done cheaper than that.
The sad thing is about that attitude that we won't be around to see it, so it doesn't matter. That's why this is what the problem is. It's people having these vanity projects, doing them because it looks good to everybody they're in front of, but ultimately you're not thinking about the future. You're not thinking about the problems we've got
Just wanna
now.
spend the money.
It's all vanity.
Okay, so going back to, and thank you, Carol, definitely need more youth facility. I think it's a good thing, topic we need to discuss regarding this ban on social media when we're 16, all right, which I'm not against that, but, I've got to look at both sides for another day. But what are the young are going to do now? They're going to roam the streets. They're going to cause
Well, they'll
trouble.
get
I don't
around
know.
it.
A bit like we did when we were young.
Well, I never
Jumpers
used to
with
do
goalposts.
I used to play football in the park.
we didn't have electric bikes back then, though, did we?
Yeah. Well,
I'll be an adjudicator on that, Neil. But on the Facebook post for Exeter Cathedral yesterday, I think Penny Moore, who is in Wimbledon, was on there, and they have a program going on anyway to support the youth. And how are young tennis people, or hockey people, or kids, going to learn these various sports without going on YouTube or social media to be able to see how things are done? How are I guess what the votes ultimately going to be given to the 16-year-olds? I guess it looks like to vote. How are they going to learn what's going on in the world without going on social media to see what's going on? All of a sudden, they're just going to switch on when they turn 16 and be expected to know a sport and an interest in life and how to vote. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I don't actually think that's what they use the internet for.
going back to another comment from Ian, ask the community what they want to spend it on.
Exactly.
Would a
Exactly,
park
Ian,
benefit more in a community than 200 metres of cycle path? 4 years, Dryden Road being shut, increased cycling by 3 an hour. Should the money not
Tell
few? So
Ian, say to Ian, we all know how consultations go, don't we? Unless they're managed properly.
So I think that cost 55 grand for the last consultation. So another good idea is, I think Hevertree's got a community hub there. I don't know exactly what it's called, but I think that's got a little cafe in there. People can go in. I think that's good. Put them in all parks, community hubs, where
I
the
mean,
youth
there's one
can
in
go,
this-
table tennis and
one
all
in
that.
Barton Field.
So questions we have asked the council, which we'll update you on, is, as you can see, who holds the money? How much is available? What has been spent? What remains unspent? Who decides? And I'll add, What about the interest? So before we finish, just going to do a little bit of there's an AGM this week for the Reform branch in Exeter. They're going to sort their life out, hopefully, ready for things that's going to change. And whoever is a member, please sign. You've got to sign up to the lady who's put the post out, and all hands on deck to turn out. And that is a political, and I'm sorry I mentioned that, but we had to do it. So besides that, a lot of things going on in Exeter right now. We have to be transparent. You're transparent. Peter, there's a lot going through your head right now because I didn't want you to know about the 106.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot to be learnt in the future, how that money is spent.
Well, I think there's a lot of benefit out of it as well.
If it's used correctly.
Yeah, exactly that.
You know, I'm not saying cycle tracks or cycle routes aren't, but like I said, and I will say to you, Tony, we've got to get our house in order before we make other decisions. Right? Somebody has to get killed before people can do something. That's wrong.
Yeah, that's not the best.
So the one about cycle routes, people are going to get killed. So we have increased traffic. Have we? I agree. People should be fitter.
Yeah, there is a fine line. Like I say, you need the cycling, but you need the transport as well. And one can't take priority of the other. You cannot force people onto bikes. Maybe in 10 years when everyone feels differently, but at the moment, I can't see their dream happening.
No, I think it's balance. You want people to do
balance,
bikes,
yeah.
but you also got to get the children to school. You've got to have GP surgeries. You've got to have zebra crossings. Chudley Road at the bottom.
You
know,
love Chudley
that-
Road, don't you?
And how much? Just you've got to have all this stuff, do we? But how much what's Devon County Council's budget? Or
I don't know.
balance
So
like
I've
at the
asked for a
moment?
Freedom of Information Act, so I will update everybody and we'll bring this on again when you, Peter, can spend the money here.
Is it negative, Tony?
So it's not the most fluffy subject tonight, but it's very
It's a
important.
very valid one, isn't
Yeah,
it?
we've got to get this message out. The S106, people need to be aware of it. People need to be involved in it. People need to tell all different Exeter City Council, Devon County Council, anybody who listens to how it should be spent. All right, because if we need a zebra crossing on Chudley Road, that's a priority in my eyes. So, Tony, I'll pass it over to you, and I've said enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been very interesting today. The 106, Section 106, we did HATOC training yesterday. I didn't know much about it, to be honest. So this is one of the reasons when it was brought up, I delved into it. Cycle routes, I think it's fantastic. I did mention that it's fantastic that cycle routes will take you one way to Exmouth. It'll take you to Dawlish. It'll take you all directions. If you live in Cranbrook, fine. But not every road is suitable to be a cycle track.
Yeah, I'm just. I like I said to you when I arrived today. I'm still blown away about really the phone call that I received.
Speak
And
to Ian.
it's- yeah, it's
Peter?
not. It's
Sorry.
not good. It just didn't come across very
Professional.
professional to me, to be honest.
But you're a stubborn man anyway, too.
Well, I've certainly got my own mind.
No, that's what you need, isn't it?
Peter, have you enjoyed tonight?
I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah. And I'm sorry to put you over
no, not at all. Not at all.
Before I hand you over to Rob, remember, guys, I've got 3 different guests coming on the next 3 weeks. I won't tell you about them. If somebody wants to come on, Helen, good idea. I'm not told these guys yet about our idea, but that'd be quite good, and I look forward to it. If you've got suggestions on the pod, but I'd rather have opposition come on the pod, all right? And if there's a lovely lot of people out there, and this is an open floor conversation. Pass you back to Rob. Thank you ever so much, Robert.
And
Okay.
it's air conditioned as well, isn't it?
No, not
You can't be
Not a
ripping
secret
one of them
bunker.
out. Have you seen what they've done today? They've said that people need to rip out their air conditioning units.
Oh, that's
We haven't got
You're
one.
safe
And do you
here,
know
I
what?
think.
Well, this
solar
far
panels-
underground is quite cool, actually, isn't it?
the solar panels aren't working properly because
Yeah, it's too hot.
Some of them are sunk in the roofs, so there's no airflows. Yeah, and I think.
And
God,
rip your aircon out. Brilliant.
Yeah, well, we're sat in the underground bunker, and we have it so deep underground we don't need.
We don't need air conditioning, do we?
Ah, my God, this world is so funny.
Something else, isn't it?
Rob,
All I can say is thank God you guys are counselors, and we've got a great person here, Pete. Pete, right? Is that Peter?
That's the one.
Got it.
Thanks very much.
Paul's coming next week.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. And
Then Mary the week after.
Then John.
And just to taste us, your son's going to come on soon.
My nephew's probably going to come on
Okay. look forward
to get a youngster's view, I think.
Okay, sorry, Rob, to interrupt you.
yeah, no, I just reminiscing about when you guys were elected, and thank goodness you were elected last year. Been here a long time in your areas, and you do care, and you can see you care enough to have this podcast every single flipping week. So hats off to you guys for being on it.
And on time as well today.
The
Yeah.
wife's not happy because I sit there
So-
writing it at night going, it'll only take me 5 minutes.
Thanks very much for
2 hours
joining us
later.
tonight. We'll see you next week at the same time, same station.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Bye.
Respect the place that you call